Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's Jack and Liliana with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today we're talking about the top 4 beverages to keep you hydrated for your athletic endeavors as we get into this hotter season here. But before we get into it, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. And it doesn't get much better than that, so take advantage of it. Ready? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. All right guys, the topic of the day, hydration. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is overall, what does hydration status look like? So generally we are about 60% made up of body water or fluid that we have in our bodies, and that can be intracellular fluid or extracellular fluid. Now in those waters we actually have different electrolytes that help maintain that water balance. So when we look at the intracellular fluid, it's important we know that there's supposed to be magnesium inside the cell, intracellular, and potassium. Those are 2 big ones that are supposed to be inside the cell for that balance. Outside of the cell, we generally see sodium and calcium concentrations in the extracellular fluid. Now, when that balance is off, we actually will see more sodium being dumped in our bodies, and the intracellular fluid will contain more calcium in a lot of cases. And this is how we know that our hydration status is off, and it directly affects our overall metabolic processes. So the way that our body is able to function at a metabolic level based off of that hydration status and that electrolyte status. So with our selection today of my top 4 beverages that we're going to be looking at to stay hydrated through these hotter summer months here, it's based off the content that they provide in the form of natural electrolytes overall. That is a huge part of it. So the electrolyte content and how well it helps us balance out naturally the overall hydration status, intracellular to extracellular fluid in our bodies. It's also worth noting that when our extracellular fluid to intracellular fluid ratio is off and the extracellular fluid is a higher level, that's a general indication of inflammation in our bodies. So if the ECF is higher in relation to the ICF, that is showing that we have some form of inflammation locally or even as a systematic thing throughout our body. So this can also be helpful in other terms of how healthy our body actually is when we look at hydration status in this way. So today I'm going to be giving you my top hydration beverages in order of least to greatest here in the hydration performance level that they provide, and we'll be going from there to help you guys make sure that you're staying hydrated and well hydrated throughout. I should also note the amount overall of fluid that we do want to be taking in per day is about half your body weight in ounces of fluids, give or take roughly. Now you can follow your thirst a little bit, but at the same time we can be up to 2 to 3% dehydrated if we are listening to our sensation of thirst and it is not fully accurate. If we're not able to read that sense very well, we can be dehydrated up to 2 to 3% of that body weight there already. So that is a significant amount of water weight overall, and that can show significant declines in your overall performance, whether that's out running, biking, in the gym, whatever it might be. That's where we start to see those metabolic declines where we're not able to metabolize at a rate that we need to produce the energy to produce the work that we're doing, and we start to get this cascade effect of negative effects overall. So keep that in mind as well as we're going through here, about half your body weight in ounces in fluids overall. Now I usually say about 1 liter to 2 liters of that coming from just water in itself, but it's important that that water is paired with a meal overall so that your body absorbs it better. One way to tell if your hydration is working for you or not, the beverages that you're taking in, is the amount of times that you're urinating in a day. So generally the ideal amount of times is going to be anywhere about 4 to 5 times that we'll be urinating throughout the day. not excessive amounts over that, and even under that it could be an indicator. So the amount 4 to 5 times per day, and we can also look at the color of it. It should be a light yellow, not completely clear, because if we're urinating completely clear, we are likely just peeing out the water that we've been drinking in excess, and it is coming out, and with that starts to come out a lot of those electrolytes as well. So we are throwing off our balance. Even though we're drinking a lot of water per se, we're throwing off the electrolyte balance and not truly hydrating ourselves in the sense of electrolyte balance, intracellular to extracellular fluid, and that can be misleading. You can say, I drink a lot of water, but you can still be dehydrated technically if that water is not being held and if those electrolytes are not being held within the proper space within the cell. So keep all that in mind as we're talking through these beverages today and talking about performance overall with these. So they are in the order of least hydrating to best, but still good options to stay hydrated. Ready? Let's go. Beverage number 1, coffee. Coffee is actually a decent beverage that we can use to keep ourselves hydrated. Now it is on the lower end, even lower than some of the waters that we can be drinking as far as the hydration that it does provide. But at the same time, we are still providing ourselves hydration. There are benefits of antioxidants of coffee, and the ergonomic benefits of caffeine in themselves are worth noting for endurance and strength in higher intensity bouts. So coffee would be a mistake to throw it out and say that it's kind of one of those that negates itself because it's also causing you to urinate a little bit more. And truly, if we kind of use a better strategy, this will actually balance out altogether the overall amount of times that you are urinating throughout the day. So if all you're drinking is coffee and that's your hydration strategy, that's a poor one, because yes, we're drinking it, it's going to be causing us to urinate more overall. If that's the only beverage, then we are maybe putting ourselves in a deficit. But as an ergonomic aid for performance, if you're using it before an exercise bout or even maybe a little bit during the exercise bout, that could be something that is worth noting. It's also important to note that what you put in your coffee will also make a difference. So if you're combining it with something like whole milk or a full fat milk, then you're going to be taking in the benefits of that milk as well, which is a more hydrating substance in that sense, and it becomes an overall better hydration substance to work with there. So that's something that we'll start with. Right now, my favorite drink as far as using it for ergonomic purposes, or even in the sense of binding iron, which is a big one as far as dietary concerns go. It can be very effective in binding iron and chelating that and taking that out of our bodies. That's something that we can use coffee for, and the hydration benefits at the same time here. Should it be your only hydration source? No, you need to be using other sources as well, and you need to consider what you're putting in your coffee, whether that be sugar or a full fat cream or milk as far as what you combine it with, or if you're just drinking it black, that can also affect that hydration status there. I personally drink it with a whole milk that's close to raw as possible, and maple syrup as the sweetener for it. Now, the maple syrup and the milk in itself are helpful in increasing the overall hydration status of that coffee. So that's the important thing to understand. What's in it, not just the coffee itself, is going to make a big part of that very helpful in what you're drinking and what you're taking in with it. The carbohydrates in that will also help you maintain water. For every gram of carbohydrate that we take in, we hold about 4 ounces of water. So that's something that could be considered as well when we're drinking coffee as a hydrating beverage for performance there. All right, hydration beverage number 2. Moving up to mineral water or even a carbonized water with magnesium. These are the next 2 in line here. So magnesium is a highly important mineral here in our diet overall that really plays a role in, I believe it's somewhere around 3,700 different enzymatic processes in our body. So if we do not have a high magnesium content in our diet, which a lot of us don't naturally, then we could be missing out, especially if we're an athlete putting ourselves under higher intensity bouts of exercise and higher amounts of stress that are induced by ourselves. Exercise is still a stress. We lose sodium, we lose magnesium. This throws off our hydration status and balance overall, which affects, again, the metabolism and our metabolic processes. So it's something to consider. With mineral waters themselves, those are also, again, containing different minerals, whether it be magnesium, potassium, sodium. That's the benefit there, that we have those minerals in the water themselves, and they help with the actual electrolyte balance when you're drinking those. Those are a step up from our caffeinated beverage of coffee with whatever mixture that it is. So keep that in mind. If you're drinking water, it's probably best that you're actually doing some form of mineral water in general to help with that hydration of it, rather than just drinking plain water that's been filtered, which usually the filters take out a lot of those good minerals as well and do not get placed back in. So if you have a really good filter, some of those will put that back in, that mineral content, but most take it out, and then you just have water without the mineral content, and it becomes a less hydrating beverage because of that. So when you're drinking your water, it's important to note that it's probably best if it comes in the form of either a magnesium bicarbonate type solution, where you can add in an ounce or so of that magnesium bicarb to it and make that a more beneficial beverage for you overall, where your body will stay more hydrated and also takes in more magnesium, or it comes in the form of a mineral water, a sparkling water in that sense, where it's carbonated and mineralized as well. So that is our second beverage there. Not just plain water, but some type of mineral water to help you actually absorb and improve that electrolyte balance overall. Beverage number 3. All right, this is one of my favorite combos here. It is called an Adrenal Cocktail, and it is the combination of a fresh squeezed or a pulp-free organic orange juice that is mixed with coconut water or aloe water, or both. So you can do thirds of that orange juice, coconut water, aloe water, or you can do halves of orange juice, aloe water, orange juice, coconut water. Now, the benefits overall of the orange juice in general is, first of all, the natural sugars that you're getting from that fruit juice. That's one of the benefits right there in itself. And again, for a single gram of carbohydrate, you hold about 4 more ounces of water. That right there is a huge benefit, but we're also getting a great source of whole food vitamin C here, which is extremely beneficial because vitamin C is a complex that contains copper and regulates iron in our bodies, which is extremely important to overall oxygenation of tissues. And it is also containing lots of all those electrolytes in the form of potassium by adding the aloe and the coconut water in there as well. Now, what I like to do with this Adrenal Cocktail is also combine in some salt, and we use Icelandic sea salt when we do this, and some collagen powder to give it a little bit of an amino acid profile as well. And I will use this as my workout beverage. So this is something that I drink during my workouts to help overall level out my blood sugar and maintain those blood sugar levels as I'm exercising. Again, orange juice is higher on the hydration status by itself, but when you add that potassium from the coconut water and the aloe to that even, it becomes an even greater hydrating beverage when it comes to speaking of the electrolyte balance in our bodies overall. And again, that is a half a cup of orange juice, half the cup of either aloe water or coconut water, a little pinch or 2 of Icelandic sea salt, collagen powder, mix it all together, and you've got yourself a fantastic workout beverage that will last you and help sustain you through that workout as well. All right, guys, and last but not least, the most hydrating beverage of them all. Let's see if you can guess it. I'll give you a second. Whole or raw full-fat milk. Yep, milk. It is basically a complete food as it has Carbohydrates, proteins, and fat, the profile of it as far as macronutrients goes is fantastic overall. And the vitamin content that it has is also pretty significant to it. So vitamins A, D, E, and K, those fat soluble vitamins are in there, and that is a huge benefit to it. Now, once again, since it is a complete profile, that is one of the main benefits that makes it as hydrating as it is. And I do recommend full fat or whole milk, or raw if you can even get it. The closer to the source, the better. That is because when we take those fat soluble vitamins out and then try to put synthetic ones back in, we actually end up doing more harm than good to the beverage. So you're best getting it as its natural source, as close to the source as possible, without removing any of that, and as untouched as possible. So if you live near a farm, see if they have that, see if they supply that. That's probably your best option for hydrating beverages. Now, obviously, if you're drinking it in the hot sun, it's not going to be your best workout beverage as you're doing it, but it is a great post-workout beverage or between meal beverage that can help sustain you and really hydrate you. Again, this is one of the highest hydrating beverages that we have available to us as far as whole food natural sources go, and it doesn't get much better than that, honestly. So I recommend using your milk. Again, you could combine it with your coffee, which will help bring up the profile of that coffee that you're drinking if you're drinking a whole fat milk with that, or just drinking a glass by itself. Post-workout, as a post-workout beverage, you could do a big glass, or even just as a snack throughout the day to help keep yourself hydrated and provide yourself something that's a little bit more beneficial to you in the overall nutrient profile that it has. Now, if you have trouble consuming dairy, this might be something that you have to build back up. A lot of times, people who were deemed lactose intolerant were able to tolerate it better as they built up gradually. So this is as small as a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons in the beginning when you're first getting started, and then working up from there. That is important to note. Start slowly and build it up. If you need help with enzymes, Life, which is a brand that I'm affiliated with, offers a great dairy enzyme that will help you actually digest that dairy a little bit better. So if you've had trouble with dairy in the past, this is an enzyme that you can take in the form of a supplement, and it will help you, allow you to drink a dairy source or take in dairy sources a little bit better, so that you're able to reap the benefits of that nutrient profile and the hydration that it provides. All right, and there you guys have it. My top 4 hydrating beverages to help keep you guys, well, hydrated through these warmer summer months here and beyond that in general. If you guys like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share this one with a friend or somebody who knows who likes to work on any athletic endeavors that they're going through this summer and training in general. So make sure they stay hydrated as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, please drop those down below in the description here. And make sure you guys take advantage of my 7-day mobility training challenge. If you're here looking to improve your performance overall, this is a litmus test that I take you through over 7 days from head to toe, looking at your mobility, missing range of motion, missing flexibility, where you lack motor control and patterning. And it's going to help you identify those issues that are putting you at risk for training aches and injuries overall. So make sure you guys take advantage of it. It's completely free, no equipment necessary, and it takes no more than 15 minutes a day to get through those sessions and give yourself that full head-to-toe screening to see where you're at risk. Take advantage of it. Sign up and get started today. Last but not least, if you guys have not already, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. It does not get much better than that. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. I'll catch you guys next week.